must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
And today, once again, I'm addressing you on the ongoing issues, COVID-related, but today I really just wanted to take this opportunity to reflect with you the state of our economy. And before I do so, I'd like to make a quick observation, because whenever we talk about our economy, as government, normally what we do is just bombard you with figures and statistics without a human face. Yet behind these figures are real men and women, children who are struggling. The hard-working farmer who mixes his sweat with the soil in order to feed his or her family, but also to feed our communities. The diligent mother who has a double role of nurturing her family while at the same time maintaining a full-time job. And also the aspiring and driven young people in our country who have hopes and dreams for a better tomorrow. But when we give you economic figures, you never really see the face of these ordinary Kenyans. And today, I want to paint a picture of these Kenyans. The coronavirus pandemic has and will continue to undermine our efforts to revitalize our economy for the unforeseeable future. Indeed, it is true, as I have said before, that the rate of infections may indeed surge upwards or fall if we fail to comply with the protocols issued by the Ministry of Health. It is my prayer that we shall see the rate of infection fall, because Kenyans will comply. But we must always recognize the possibility of an increase if we do not do that which is necessary. Indeed, as of this morning, I have been informed that we have cumulatively tested 57,650 samples, out of which 1,192 persons have tested positive for the coronavirus disease. And in the process, we have lost 50 of our fellow Kenyans who have fallen to this disease. Because also of the impact of this pandemic, it has also had a negative impact on our economy. And there are many Kenyans who have been stripped of their dignity, cannot feed their families or pay their rent. And many of these Kenyans find themselves in very vulnerable and difficult situations. And that is why, as a government, we have been trying to do everything we can within the resources available to see how we can support these vulnerable Kenyans. That is why every single week my administration has been dispatching a total of 250 million shillings to vulnerable families. Many may ask why we have chosen to directly send money to these vulnerable groups. And this has been motivated by two key reasons. One, in the past, if a family couldn't feed itself because of floods, famine, or other such natural calamities, we rushed previously to give them food aid. Take food in bags, rice, maize, oils. But then what we got to understand is that what happened was that government would get suppliers, we would give them the resources to buy the food, we would arrange the logistics of distributing the food to those in need. But unfortunately, with this method, what we have discovered over time is that we lost almost half of these resources that we gave to relief suppliers. We lost almost half of this to brokers and those who are organizing logistics. So therefore, very little of the resource actually reached the intended target groups. So therefore, we had to change this method by taking advantage of increased technology which is now available in Kenya. And we have now changed the mode of delivery and replaced it with one where money through M-Pesa is directly sent to families. And through this process, we have managed to bypass brokers and various cartels that used to dominate the sector. But also, which is also equally true, as a result of this, we have also managed to catalyze local economies through the injection of 250 million shillings each week through these families into local economies across the country. Money in the hands of a family also restores dignity, for it gives people the power to make economic choices in their local spaces and not depend on lining up waiting for food relief. And these choices, I strongly believe, catalyze and help us build the economy from the bottom up. Indeed, during these unprecedented times of coronavirus, we have to cushion our economy. And we must cushion our economy from below up, not from top down. The second recognition we have also made is the fact that our nation is largely youthful, with 70% of our population made up of young people. And whereas this gives us great hope, because a young population is indeed much more better equipped to fight coronavirus, but it is also worrying. Worrying because during a pandemic like the one we have, the sheer energy of our young population, as much as it will help us fight the virus, but we must also do everything we can to direct this energy so that it is not misdirected into misdeed. And this is why we must direct this youthful energy in a constructive manner. So therefore, as we fight this virus, as a government, we have started to harness the energy of our young people, engaging them in the National Hygiene Program that is more commonly now being referred to as Kazi Mtaani Initiative. Under this program, as a government, we expect to spend a total of 10 billion Kenya shillings, engaging our youth in restoring public hygiene standards, in urban civil works, and other public undertakings. Currently, during the trial period which we have been executing over the last few weeks, we have engaged a total of 26,000 young people. We now intend, hopefully with the passage of the budget that we have put before Parliament, to increase that number to 200,000 young men and women across our country. And also to make it sustainable in the post-coronavirus period. We want to regiment these young people into livelihood guilds, and these are small groups of young people with a purpose and a passion for their country. Working with county governments, we will look forward to finding ways to look for generating work for these groups, societies and circles that hopefully these young people will form. we are making this endeavor through an urban renewal program to upgrade and to modernize our towns and cities. We want our towns and cities to be clean. We want our towns and cities to be green. Indeed, if Singapore can do it, there is no reason why Kenya can also not do it. This COVID pandemic, fellow Kenyans, is not only a health crisis, but it is also fundamentally an economic crisis. Jobs have been lost, businesses have had to close, and the economy is generally on a go-slow. So therefore, to combat the effects of this downturn, my administration has had to take additional measures. Today, I am happy to announce the rolling out of my 8-point economic stimulus program, amounting to some 53.7 billion Kenya shillings. The injection of this money into the economy will stimulate growth and cushion families and companies as together we navigate our way out of the COVID-19 pandemic. The first element of this 8-point program will focus on infrastructure. Fellow Kenyans, I'm sure you are all aware of the damage that has been caused to our infrastructure as a result of the ongoing rains. And this has affected our country across the entire length of our borders. To address this challenge in the short term, as a government, we intend to rehabilitate damaged access roads, footbridges, and other public infrastructure. We have set aside a total of 5 billion Kenya shillings to hire local labor, our local young men and women across the country, to engage in this undertaking. We are convinced as a government that with the use of local labor and local construction materials in line with our Buy Kenya, Build Kenya policy, we will be able to stimulate and support micro and small businesses across the country. The second element of our stimulus program will be about education. We know that parents and indeed our children across the country are concerned about what the future holds for them. But I want to assure you that in the very near future, we shall be communicating after the extensive discussions that are ongoing between parent-teachers associations, with our teachers, with our school administrators. We will be able to come out to you and tell you what plans and programs we have for our education sector to ensure that our children are able to carry on with their education. But in the meantime, in our current budget, we have allocated an additional 6.5 billion shillings to the Ministry of Education. The purpose of this is to hire an additional 10,000 teachers and an additional 1,000 ICT interns to support our digital learning program. The program will also support the improvement of school infrastructure, including the acquisition of an additional 250,000 desks across the country, and these desks will be made by our local artisans across the country. The aim of this particular objective is to get thousands of our graduates off the bench and off the street into action, while at the same time supporting our local artisans, our local builders, and their businesses. The third element of our program will target our small and medium enterprises. During this COVID pandemic, the liquidity of these enterprises has been adversely affected. The stimulus program that we are proposing will deal with this in two ways. First and foremost, we have allocated Kenya shillings 10 billion to fast-track payment of outstanding VAT refunds and other pending payments. I'm also happy to note that just yesterday, The National Treasury released about 30 billion Kenya shillings towards the payment of pending bills in the road sector. In addition to this, we will inject a further Kenya shillings 3 billion as seed capital for the SME Credit Guarantee Scheme. The intention here being to provide affordable credit to our small and micro enterprises. And to do so in an efficient and structured manner, borrowing from the professional standards and practices of the private sector credit arrangements. Health is our fourth target of our 8-point stimulus program. My administration intends to hire another 5,000 healthcare workers with diploma or certificate level qualification for a period of 1 year. This will not only enhance our COVID-19 response capability, but also enhance the implementation of the Universal Healthcare Coverage Program. Further, the stimulus program will set aside a further 1.7 billion shillings for the expansion of bed capacity in our public hospitals. And here, I encourage our Ministry of Health to utilize our Juakali sector in this endeavor. Let us make and build these beds that we shall supply here locally so that that money circulates in and amongst our people. Similarly, resources will be pumped into our medical research facilities to enhance their research capacity, which is critical to generate new innovations in the medical field, new innovations that will not only help us combat COVID-19, but also other diseases and afflictions that may face our people now and into the future. But with the extra resources, these facilities will also undergo some level of reform to optimize their performance. So, fellow Kenyans, you will be hearing of changes in the sector of research to ensure that those who are going to be charged with that responsibility and with the resources being given are up to the task of meeting the desire and objectives not just of government, but of the people of Kenya. I am persuaded that these reforms will upscale our medical research facilities to a standard that can indeed rival any in the rest of the world. The fifth element of our stimulus program will focus on agriculture. My administration has prioritized Kenya shillings 3 billion for the supply of farm inputs through e-vouchers, targeting some 200,000 small-scale farmers initially. This is meant to cushion farmers from the effects of adverse weather and to secure food supply chains in the post-COVID-19 period and into the future. Further, under this program, we also have allocated a further Kenya shillings 1.5 billion that will be set aside to assist our horticultural and flower producers to continue accessing international markets in this period.
Viewers, welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from the Republic of Kenya. This is Eid al-Fitr. Eid al-Fitr is a celebration of the Son of God, Prophet Muhammad. And today, as people of the community, global world, Christians and Muslims alike, wherever you are, This is the day for us. We know very many Christians, we know very many Muslims that join us together in our celebrations during Easter, during Christmas. You can see the way today I'm dressed. It's a special day. First, this hat and the white kanzu reminds me this was a present from General Bashir when I visited him in 2016 in Khartoum. He gave me the kanzu, he gave me the stick, he gave me the African flag, and he was giving to every head of the judiciary. We went to address a seminar there. So I've kept it as a symbol. I don't know how I look there, but it looks like this is Africa. This is Africa, and we are united in both religion, in both thoughts. Christians and Muslims are the same. They all say the same things. We pray the same God, the Almighty, the divine intervention of our Lord. The Lord gives everybody, doesn't discriminate whether you're a Christian or. Thank you very much. Those who don't know, this is how I am. I have lived with most of my friends in the world are Muslims. You see, Said Gaddafi, Al-Salam Gaddafi, all those, I have met them in London. I want to thank everybody today to give a hand in these difficult times of COVID-19. COVID-19 is not discriminating a Christian or a Muslim. We want to pray for everybody. We want to put our thoughts to everybody through this prayer today on a Muslim day like this. Is unity. The symbol we are wearing today is unity. Unity of purpose. I am very delighted as a Christian to be part and a parcel of the celebrations of the people of the Muslim world. All over the world, wherever they are. Tomorrow, Kenya will celebrate a public holiday. It doesn't mean that we should not celebrate along with us. They have done it before with us, and we also do them with us. Many Muslims come for Christmas. Many Muslims go for holidays. Why do they go for holidays during Christmas? It's because the religion is the same. We pray to the same God, one God, the one who answers, the Allah, the God who answers every prayer in the world. At this hour, we want Allah to remove the sin of COVID-19. Remove it. Let our Muslim brothers and sisters pray for it. We have tried during Easter, we did not go to churches. As we stand today, we are not in churches. Many of our Christians are out waiting to be in churches. But I want you to have hope that Jesus did not only pray in churches. The only time Jesus prayed in the church was when he entered Jerusalem, chasing away the thieves. The beggars were trampled on by money gamblers, corrupt people, money launderers, those selling Christianity in Jerusalem temple. The man asked for a donkey to cross over. We can pray from anywhere, under a tree. In fact, I have not seen any bishop who has conducted a ceremony under a tree with people seated with a loudspeaker. You can do that. You can pray from your house. Why are you saying open the churches? Churches will bring us problems first. Let's see. This disease is changing positions. It is now in South America. Maybe from South America to run back. Hello. With me in the studio right now to analyze this show. to test her microphone, to see how powerful I am on this end, well dressed. Where's is Miriam Ogutu, our research senior anchor, Punchline Africa Television, miles away in Nairobi. Thank you very much, Miriam. Good afternoon.
A very good afternoon to you, Doctor, there, and you're very right. Today is Eid al-Fitr, and we wish our Muslim brothers and sisters a happy Eid al-Fitr. This is the day that marks the end of the holy month of Ramadan, and this has been particularly very challenging to the Muslim faithfuls because of the challenges that have been brought about by COVID-19. They've not been able to go to their worships as it's required, because they're supposed to be going to worship a couple of times a day, and one of them is during the evenings. But because of the curfews that have been brought about by the COVID-19, it has been very challenging. And so I'm happy for them. They've made it through the holy month of Ramadan. And now we wish them happiness and whatever it is that they've been praying for during this holy month of Ramadan. I'm sure that Allah was listening. And thank you so much. And a happy one to all who are watching us, who are of the Muslim faith.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Sorry about that. People are asking for the link. We can't see the link. We need the link. Everybody's asking for the link on this side. Thank you very much, viewers. Today, the show, we start with Kenya. We go to South Sudan. We go to Zimbabwe. And Miriam, you can finish the others.
All right, so we shall start with Kenya today. This is Africa Showdown, by the way. In case you don't know, the name of the show is just there on your screens. And we'll start with Kenya, where we shall look at the economic stimulus package that was announced yesterday by the head of state, President Uhuru Kenyatta. And then we shall look at things fall apart when numbers disappear. And we saw what happened in Senate on Friday there, impeachment of Kindiki. So these numbers that some political divide have been flaunting, are they real, or what happened? And so we shall look at that. And then we shall go to our second topic, and that is South Sudan, the impact of COVID-19 on the peace process. We know what has been happening in that country, and the insecurities and the incidences that have been reported, and it is worrying, because the process really seems to have been hampered by COVID-19. So we shall look at that, and then we shall move to Zimbabwe, where right now, as we speak, the U.S. seems to have removed some of the sanctions, so we shall tell you which one. But it's time perhaps for Zimbabwe, all the sanctions be removed against Zimbabwe. And then we shall cross over to Uganda, COVID-19 strategy working there. What is that President Yoweri Museveni is doing that seems to be working in terms of curbing, the numbers of COVID-19 there in Uganda. And then in South Africa, COVID strategy marking. We see President Cyril Ramaphosa is set to be addressing South Africans today in the evening. But so far, this easing of, the easing strategies and all that, South Africa still leads in the continent with the number of infections. And so we shall look at what is it that has been happening to that strategy. Has it been working or not? And what is really going on there in South Africa? And then we shall end with Cameroon, their array of hope. And we shall look at, put a spotlight on the Anglophone crisis there in Cameroon. So thank you so much. That and we have in store for you today in Africa Showdown. So, Doctor, we start with Kenya economic stimulus package yesterday that was announced by President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Thank you very much. Yesterday, President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta announced a raft of measures for economic stimulus. Remember, there is no country in Africa that is not going to be affected by COVID-19. Like it or hate it, whatever you are, whether in Uganda, whether in each country in Africa or in the world, even in Britain, where people thought the economy it has money, it has a bank, it has surplus money, there is an effect. Effects are going to be there, the economy. Some people, as experts, are terming the post-coronavirus Africa as a scramble for Africa for the second time. Countries are going to come here to give you packages and give you conditions. This is exactly what is going to happen. So be careful, stand up. President Uhuru Kenyatta is giving his best. He's trying to say, this is what we can do. But I want to tell, I am a frank speaking man. Mr. President, this package is very good. But put a committee, a new team, a new blood. The people there, the ministers, are fatigued. Mr. President, in political science, there is fatigue evaluation. There is division. Divisions are within the cabinet. Some people serve interest for this last 2 years to seek a legacy. Your Excellency, Your Excellency, Your Excellency, get a committee to effectively deliver this money, effectively deliver this package, to add on Njoroge of the CBK, so that they are delivered the same old style of, since you directed payments for people, some people have not received the payment. And the explanation, some payments have gone, but the dates, there are suppliers, there are people who supplied goods to the government. Mr. President, these people are spoiling your name. They spoil your name on a daily basis. Me, I want to speak frankly. The type of bureaucracy that is in the Ministry of Finance makes the people hate everything. You have now sanctioned this package. It's a very good package. But you say, work a team, technical, whether purple man, yellow man, whatever color you can get. You are the president. This is the last 2 years left for you, Your Excellency. Don't rely on people who tell lies. Don't rely on people who are fake. Don't rely on people who are undermining you at night, then coming to laugh with you in the morning. Just leave a legacy of a united Kenya, a symbol, by delivering, bring any yellow Chinese to head the committee. Yes, the man who will not take a bribe, the man who has made his money already, let him head a committee, an economic to inspect it, to make sure that this money is reaching, that this money will stimulate the tourism industry. Don't give to the sharks in the tourism industry who have been cheating this money. I'm being very honest. I'm being very honest. And these are some of the things that I say without fear of any contradiction. Because some of the things are not working, Miriam. I believe you have the same sentiments. The president makes very good decisions, brings us the money. Now he has put up a very good program. Some people are going to say there is no law that can change, can make this thing work. So a civil servant sits in that office and waits. Some of them, before they pay the suppliers, they demand the money from the suppliers, Mr. President. So on such a thing, we want to help you. If you have put up such a committee, such good initiative, stimulus, put there somebody you will fire without authority. Say you have not delivered in 3 months, get home, go away, we get another person. There are many Kenyans, there are many international experts on finance who can help you to restructure this economy. We must begin going that route. If we stick on the same tired ministries, these are tired. For me, I said the truth. These ministries are tired. Call me a bad man, I don't mind. I am your friend. I'm not hiding. Some people, look at the fatigue. Look at the politics. Look at what they do. Look at what they talk about you on social media. Who is defending? It's this mouth here. I'm there. I've been there, Your Excellency. And I will not leave. Whether in Kenya or wherever I will be, I will defend you. Because you are a very good person. You are a very good person. You have never given me anything to say, yes, you have given me one good thing. The hope of Africa. The Pan-African zeal you had. The Pan-African to get $1 million to pay for a court. For Africa to have a court You actually took my heart. For Africa to have its own court so that we don't judge Africans in the head. You inspired me. That's all. I don't need anything at my age. I will go and look after my grandchildren. There are 9 of them. They are actually 10 yesterday. So 150 pounds per week per child is very good money. I become a child minder. No problem. At each age, what haven't I seen? I've walked to 122 countries in the world. Haven't I seen enough? Telling the truth sets me free. This thing is a very good stimulus package, Miriam, but the civil servants, the bureaucrats, Your Excellency, are going to trample on it. When you come back again to ask, they say, oh, this was this, oh, this was this, oh, this was this. But put there yellow people, yellow or purple. Let the people on the committee be purple. You can even get from Uganda, you can get from South Africa, you can even get from Namibia, you can even get from the Commonwealth, Bahamas. A man who stayed in a hotel, you don't go to him. He can do your work better than these guys. When you give them work here, the ministers, some of them have let down the president. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that, and for the interest of our viewers who may not be understanding this economic stimulus package. Let me just run, just a pointer on what entails the announcement that President Uhuru Kenyatta made yesterday in regards to this economic stimulus package. Now, yesterday, President Uhuru Kenyatta outlined an 8-point economic stimulus program to help keep the country afloat, even as the coronavirus pandemic ravages lives globally. The first element of the 53.7 billion Kenya shillings package will focus on infrastructure, and then a total of 5 billion Kenya shillings has been set aside to hire local labor in this undertaking. The second element is education, and the government has set aside 6.5 billion Kenya shillings to hire 10,000 more teachers and 1,000 ICT interns to support digital learning. And the third element on the program will target small and medium enterprises whose liquidity has been adversely affected. And Uhuru said the government has allocated about 10 billion Kenya shillings to fast-track payment of outstanding VAT refunds and other pending payments. And then the fourth element is the hiring of another 5,000 health workers with diploma or certificate qualifications for a year. And further, the government will set aside 1.7 billion Kenya shillings for expansion of bed capacity in public hospitals, and I think this will go a long way, in increasing our capacity in terms of the number of patients our public hospitals can take even after COVID-19 is over, because that has been lacking in that regard. And also the government has also prioritized 3 billion Kenya shillings for the supply of farm inputs targeting and cushion 200,000 small-scale farmers. Now that is something that will be interested to see that it is actually done. And then President Uhuru Kenyatta also allocated 1.5 billion Kenya shillings to assist horticulture and flower producers to continue assessing international markets, very important, and to mitigate the impact of deforestation and climate change, and to enhance the provision of water facilities. The government has allocated about 850 million Kenya shillings to rehabilitate wells, water ponds, and underground tanks in arid and semi-arid areas. A further 1 billion Kenya shillings has been set aside for flood control measures, and another 540 million Kenya shillings for the Greening Kenya campaign, and also about a total of 2 billion Kenya shillings will be set aside to support renovation of facilities and the infrastructure of business operations by actors in the tourism industry. And in addition to this, funding will also be set aside to support the operations of a premier hospitality institution, that is Utalii College, which I think is in dire need of help. So that will go a long way in helping that to guarantee the steady supply of well-trained hospitality professions. And also, President said the government will also engage 5,500 community scouts under the Kenya Wildlife Service, and that will cost about 1 billion Kenya shillings. Additionally, support will be made available to approximately 160 community conservancies, and that I think is under our tourism sector, and that will take another 1 billion Kenya shillings. So, Doctor, a lot of monies that have been allocated to some these things, and it is very. When President Uhuru Kenyatta was talking yesterday, he was very, very categorical, and he said a lot of this labor that is required has to be from the local labor, because a lot of young people and a lot of Kenyans have been affected by the COVID-19, and one of the impacts is the loss of jobs. So he wants to ensure, even as we fight COVID-19, we keep our young people engaged, and for those who are perhaps in a state of despondency because of they lost their place of livelihood, now they're able to do something. They have something that will keep them going until things are able to get back to normal. And yesterday, I think one of the ministries concerned with that, I saw an interview whereby these projects have started, but there are some youths who have not been paid. But he was explaining that there are people who gave the details but did not give the right details. So that's why some of them have been experiencing late delays in payments. But we see where the heart of the president is, Doctor, hiring of local, laborers. Will this ease the state of despondency that some Kenyans had started feeling in terms of the loss of jobs and the state of our economy right now?
First of all, Miriam, the state of economy can be checked and corrected by Kenyans only. It cannot be corrected by anybody. But the management of follow-up, the follow-up system, this is what I'm talking about. The follow-up, to follow this money. Has this money arrived? To remove this money from the treasury, to arrive to those projects, is where Kenyans are finding a very difficult situation. It is where projects are delayed. The president has ordered time and time again that to pay people who have supplied small traders so that the smaller traders can be happy. You know, when you have smaller traders during this COVID, who can keep some 2-5 trucks, some trailers working, delivering some materials, and then the money is circulated back, you will keep the economy afloat. I hated economics. I'm not Dr. D, but even in Dr. D, I cannot even, talk about even a small toilet. So let's forget about that. Let me talk about what I know. Is if you give back, pay the workers, pay the suppliers, those who supplied some of these things to the government, the money comes back, it rotates, they pay workers, they give up incentives. They can even pay workers while they are working at home in tax. There are workers who have taken shifts, who have taken leave. When they finish, these other ones come back. So these are some of the things that the president needs to hear. Your Excellency, you make these things. You have done very well. The stimulus is 100%. 100% very good.
Yes.
It can keep the economy. But the actual implementation, people cheat you at the actual implementation. If you go to the Ministry of Treasury to find out some of the things that you directed to be paid, not because there is no money. There is money. But as a man keeps you telling you, come tomorrow, come today, come tomorrow, come today. Do we eat in office?
So, Doctor,
and these are the people. It is not the president. Yes. It is this civil servant.
And just a
That's
question.
Why I'm saying.
Just a question in regards to, and I think Doctor, you're really, really raising a very important matter, and that really affect a lot of people who do business, especially with government agencies, and that's why you'll find that somebody decides to, overprice any kind of product or service that has been acquired to us, this tendering by the government, and their reasoning usually is because it takes a lot of time before you're even paid that money. So, just to cover for that, so they make sure that the products or the services is 3, 4, 5 times, even 10 times more than the normal price that they would give the same to a different company or a different entity. So now, therefore, because this is really a problem, Doctor, that really has to be looked into, because President Uhuru Kenyatta is outlining this economic stimulus package, and he has hopes that the people who have been put in place there will actualize this, because he cannot not be the person physically to go do this. He'll require people there in place to do it. So how can to solve this problem, Doctor? Do you think perhaps creating a committee, like you see, we have the IPOA, the oversight body for the police department there. Could you have like a committee or an oversight body where if you have delivered your stuff there, or you have a problem with the late payment or things like that, you can go there and actually lodge a complaint, and they can look through it so that they ensure that you know, if you've rightfully offered a service or a product, you paid. If you've rightfully offered, you know, whatever it is in agreement of whatever, and the other side is failing to meet that obligation, you know, that, you know, there's a place you can go and actually complain, and somebody can take care of it, so that we ensure that the people who've been put in place can actually, you know, because they know somebody will be checking them. Will that you know, work to solve this problem that we've seen not just now, but it has been existing, especially in the civil service, you know, tendering process?
The president needs today to do what we call an economic war cabinet. And we have 2 years. I am safeguarding the president's legacy. I told you that I'm writing the book. Whether he has given me permission or not, I'll write the book. I have the English. I'll deliver it. It will be bought. It will be bought. He doesn't need to give me permission because I'm seeing the legacy. I'm writing the legacy. I'm interested in the president's legacy. I'm not interested in how people divide their money. So the president needs a legacy, to leave a legacy for Kenya. How do you leave a legacy when people are dying? When money you have directed that it should be given out, civil servants sit on this money. They make you walk and your shoes go down flat. Some of the payments are there. They call you back to go and verify. You sit in the committee from morning after evening. You verify. I'm telling you what happens there, Mr. President. Then they tell you, but you are not talking. Talk what? Talk what?
And that's the question, Doctor, I asked.
The president has directed that you give people money. You give out this money. And this money is in the treasury.
Yes. So Doctor.
Why do you want a human being, a Kenyan supplier, to talk what?
Yes. So in the interest of accountability, because we've seen that has been lacking so much in regards to such a process, should we now create perhaps another body to oversight some of these tenders by the government, so that any supplier, any person who has been in business and there seems to be the other side is not meeting their part of the agreement, they can go to this body and launch a complaint and say, you know, I supplied this, I did this, and it has been this long, I've not been paid. Should we create that body the same way you've created with the IPOA, the oversight body in the Kenya police? If you have a problem, you go there. So should we do that, or how can we, because this is a problem, so how can we find a solution? What is the solution to this?
Nairobi way. Go the Nairobi way.
What is the solution? Yes, which is?
Go Nairobi way. I've told you, go Nairobi way. It's Sonko going to talk. Let him talk. But work is being done. Yes.
For the interest of our viewers, yes, explain the Nairobi way.
Yeah, Nairobi way is the governor was corrupt. The governor has been corrupt. The governor doesn't know what to do. So he failed to run the city. And the president brought in a committee. It is running. Very soon, in 2-3 months, we shall see something working in Nairobi. The president has executive powers to implement an economic war program. This is an economic war program. After COVID-19, there will be a war, not with guns, but a war of lack of goods, equipment, materials. We must have a committee of an economic war experts, people who have read the book, people who can give you that is wrong. This is what we should do priority. If we rely on these ministers who quarrel every morning, every evening, every midnight, well, it's gone.
So what I'm hearing you to say, Doctor, is we need like a central committee to oversee all of these things.
Yes. The Nairobi type.
From a central place.
Yes.
Who oversee the whole project?
So they sit down, you give them a mandate of 2 weeks to find whether the money was dispersed or not. Watu watakimbia hapa. The president must take charge, and say, I want this money, I want these programs to work. Because if we don't prepare people by the end of COVID-19, this COVID-19 is going to become endemic war. The way it is going endemic. There's nothing this man here talks and it doesn't come true. If there is anything I've talked, it doesn't come. Show me.
Even World Health Organization has confirmed, COVID-19
is going to be endemic.
Yes, World Health have said that. Yes.
Medium. Forget World Health. What? World Health what? Forget it. Don't talk. We knew these things in Wuhan in December. Some of us knew it in January. We wrote better than World Health Organization. Forget World Health Organization. I've spared that organization just because he's an African man. Let him die his own death somewhere else.
All right.
Not in my hands.
Yes.
Not in my hands. The man played us a game. We're in this mess. Had we been told to wash hands, had we been told to wash hands in December, would we be having this mess here? In January, he knew. Don't talk about World Health Organization. Please, I feel so offended when I hear that man. That man, I know him from 1987. I know him from London, 89, 89, 90 with Zanawi. Please don't talk about him. He's one of the few Africans who have disgraced Africa. Leave him to go his way. If the Americans find him, they will lock him up again. But for me, I won't condemn an African. I will condemn people who are doing very wrong things, who are not helping President Uhuru Kenyatta. They are busy supplying goods at night, quietly. They are positioning themselves as what? What will you rule? You rule who? You rule 2022, you will find people are dead. People will not be there in 2022. You are now saying you can help the government. Why don't you help Uhuru Kenyatta? Why don't you help him to distribute this money, to supervise this money? Miriam, let the president put there a special committee to oversee this stimulus.
All right. If
that committee is not there, Your Excellency, people will grab this money. There is a very bad habit in this. That's for me, Matanga. I don't do any tender in this country. You will not find my name in a tender. Hallelujah! Thank you. Keep me like that.
All right.
I'm poor than doing a tender because it is more suicide. You know you can die waiting for this money. The man tells you, if you look at the man standing up in his chair with the shoes you are wearing and you are the one who has supplied goods, then he's telling you, we would like to see your lawyer to come and sit down with us. What? It does extra cost, Mr. President. There are so many things here that annoy people. And the people are very annoyed about the suppliers. You said they should come and pick the money. They have not picked the money. Muse, they have not been paid. So some of these people are causing us more chaos. We have only 2 years left to leave a legacy. I am talking on protection of the legacy of the president. I have no regrets. I'll write a book whether I'm in Kenya, in London, in Zimbabwe, in Johannesburg.
All right.
I'll write a book about the legacy of the president.
President Uhuru Kenyatta, yes. Okay, fine. So the second very important element there is on education, and we've been talking about here I think on Friday, we were looking at should the schools open or not, and obviously the schools cannot open right now because of the dangers that are posed by COVID-19. But we see in that economic stimulus package, the government has set aside 6.5 billion Kenya shillings to hire 10,000 more teachers and 1,000 ICT interns to support digital learning, because we saw a few small percentage of the students here in Kenya were able to continue with their education online, while the majority were not able to because of the underlying factors there. So will this go a long way in terms of ensuring that, even the children who were not able to continue with their education, perhaps right now, they can be able to do so? And the hiring of more ICT interns, how will this go in boosting education, the e-learning here in Kenya?
First of all, let me be very honest in the sense that, Miriam, we must prepare these teachers. The president is correct on that. Some money disease. That one I will disagree, and you hate me, then I will close my mouth. Because even Britain has not sent these children war. They give the children even the basic food in school. Very nice chicken, yummy, yummy, during lunch. They haven't sent the children. Miriam, let's not send our children yet. Let the teachers be prepared. Let's know how they are going to sit. How will they sit? Mm-hmm. How will the children sit?
But they're not being sent yet.
Before you leave that point, because yes. We might not have time. Some churches are telling us that to open the church. How will you call a Christian who has come to your door to sleep or to pray that don't come in here? How? How, Miriam? Mm-hmm. How shall we control are we all right? Are you hearing me? Mm-hmm. Are you hearing me?
Yes, but, yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you, but
You see, the internet is going down.
I know. We can hear you. We can receive you very loud and clear here. But you see that money that the government has delivered, because and then hired 1,000 ICT, saying the money will go in hiring 1,000 ICT interns to support digital, learning. That means that there's a possibility. The government has not announced the schools are going to open, and they have to assess the situation. So we cannot, we should not send out an alarm, because the government has not said for the kids to return to school. So we'll have to wait for that. But this money will go to hire 1,000 ICT, experts, which will help with the digital learning. Okay. Yes.
That's okay.
Yes.
Even us, we are giving digital learning to university students. In fact, tomorrow, in 5 days to come, Miriam, there seems to be something that is disrupting you, the student. Are we all right with the internet?
We are fine. We are fine.
Okay.
Yes.
There is something that we must keep watching. Mm-hmm. We want the children to go to school, mm-hmm. but they must go to school when there is enough guarantee. The churches, you can't say who is supposed to come to church or mosque. Mm-hmm. You can't stop a person praying. You can't. That person will laumu wewe paka nyumbani kwake. That's it.
All right. And also, of course, some of that money they're targeting target small and medium enterprises with the liquidity, which has been adversely affected. So 10 billion Kenya shillings there will go to fast-track payment of outstanding VAT refunds and other pending payments there. So it's a lot. And also, I think what really made me happy is, the buying of more beds in our hospitals, doctor. And there's a time we were looking at this matter, and in Africa, we don't even have that many beds in our hospitals, and that has been a challenge, especially with the increased number of COVID-19 patients who require others to be hospitalized. So we see this will go a long way to improve the public capacity of the capacity of the public hospitals, and 1.7 billion has been put forth for the expansion of the bed capacity there. So these are very things that touch on Kenyans' lives, and even post, COVID-19, these are things that, Kenyans will benefit from even after we are done with this matter of the COVID-19, Doctor there. Can we perhaps now look at our second part of the Kenyan, story for the interest of time? And we look at things fall apart now when numbers disappear. And embattled Senator Deputy Speaker Kindiki Kithure was impeached. This followed a 4-hour debate in the Senate on Friday, 23rd of May. A total of 54 senators voted in favor of Kindiki's impeachment. Those who voted against the impeachment motion were 7. Now, Speaker Kenneth Lusaka left out 2 votes of senators who had wanted to vote in absentia after Majority Chief Whip Irungu Kangata advised him to do so to avoid any repercussions. So, Doctor, these numbers, are they what numbers lying, or or numbers don't lie?
Anybody who has done sampling, opinion polls, will tell you that if you rely on numbers, we have been on several occasions being told by some members of the community in Kenya that the deputy president has numbers in parliament. Don't threaten us. We have the numbers. The ground be to be changanga. Things have changed. This is honestly, that is what has been. Thank you. Bindu we change. I think there was something wrong. We are hearing some music.
No. One of the cameras had a problem that we was making use of.
My place, there was music coming in
from your side.
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
I've heard it from a neighborhood. People are playing, but now we've closed the window. Thank you very much, our viewers. From the compound across the bridge. Medium numbers will always lie. Numbers, nobody in African politics should tell you we are doing very well, because you have social media accounts, pseudo accounts on the social media, parody accounts that have been made to impress you, to siphon your money. Don't rely on social media. We have not reached a stage where people vote through social media. Mr. Clinton can rely, Mr. Bush, Mr. Trump, they can rely on the social media moving the votes, because America votes with electronic. It can vote, you can stay in America on your laptop and you vote. You can say the African politics has not reached a grade where social media can play a vital role in winning you an election. The deputy president should learn a lesson from this. Or Tanga group, because we are responding to the newspaper.
Yes.
When the numbers lie,
yes, the front pages.
You are being deceived. If I were the deputy president at this moment of reflection, I would sit back and reflect, what lesson do I learn from this? Because he's a member of the Jubilee Party. He is a deputy number 2 of Jubilee Party. Nobody has stopped him from running for elections. Time has come for him to review his strategy. Is his strategy all right? Does it produce results? Your Excellency, now you see these guys steal your money. There's nothing down there. Social media, people are lamenting on social media. Oh, I did help Uhuru in the ICC. Kindiki, when did you Kindiki help Uhuru? What did you do? What did you do? What did you do in ICC? You don't want me to say what you did against me. I don't want to say it here. So don't tell people a lie that you went to ICC to do what? To do what, Professor? You are not on Uhuru Kenyatta's team. No. You went on the team of His Excellency Ruto. You were not on Uhuru Kenyatta's team. I am not going to allow lies here. You know, you did not sit on that team. The only thing I can play, even the tapes here, I have the tapes where you and I have been interviewed in different scenarios as all of us technical activists, not as a lawyer of Uhuru Kenyatta. So don't tell lies to Kenyans that I did a great job. Lament on social media. The party, Miriam, the party has sent you to Parliament as a member of Parliament, Senator for Kindiki, for Tharaka Nithi. That is Jubilee Party. But the party added you extra responsibility that you will be a leader of majority or speaker of the Parliament, deputy speaker to deputize the speaker from Jubilee Party. They sat down in the same building where they called you and you refused to go. If I was the one prosecuting this case on the floor of the Senate, the world would take my historical speech. Very historical. I would not do it like a Kangata. Kangata was timid. This guy was sent to Parliament to represent President Uhuru Kenyatta as a deputy speaker, as a leader of majority. You speak for the party. You don't speak for your nose, or you don't speak for your wife, or your friend, or your man who has come and given you huge money. Say, now hate President Uhuru Kenyatta. Kenyatta will come with a whip and ask you, how many times have you spoken for me? 0. Get out. The same way the thing was given to him is the same way it's taken back. The Kenyans don't even lose sleep over that. That's why the deputy president is not talking, because what will he talk here? That what? They sat down and said, let Kindiki become the deputy speaker. But Kindiki was not delivering, was talking something else. He allowed a motion for Nairobi to be discussed when the head of state is rescuing Nairobi from sinking in the cabbage. Now you think that is not a subordination.
Mm-hmm. All right, and in the front pages there that President Ruki, Dr. Batanga there was referring to the Sunday Standard. It says, when numbers lie, shifting targets, how a resurgent president, a retreating deputy, and lawmakers fighting for survival are making nonsense of alliances in Parliament. The story is on page 2, 3, and 4 of the Sunday Standard. And Kipchumba Murkomen there is quoted as saying, our friends made a tactical retreat and we allowed them. We agreed to lose the battle but win the coming war. As Kipchumba Murkomen is saying, this is a strategy. We still have the numbers. Don't get us wrong. This was a strategy.
What number? Murkomen talks of numbers. He's a kid. You know, Miriam, Murkomen is an adolescent man. He behaves like a juvenile. You know, a man who has gone to school in the university, not even in Kenya, in the United States, where manners, where you find a men, yellow, brown, purple men, you know, you study with them in school and you beat them with a master's degree, first class honors. Then you come to Africa and behave like Kunule. What type of life is this? Mm-hmm. Which numbers has he got? Sure. And where will they come from? Mm-hmm. Where will they come from? Let them not even annoy the president. Mm-hmm. Maybe the president can keep quiet and say, leave it, leave it, leave it. Mm-hmm. But now, if they go on saying they have numbers, mm-hmm. the president, don't stop, Mr. President. I hear there will be a meeting on 2nd. End up. The only complication, you know, with the national, the leader of government business mm-hmm. in the National Assembly mm-hmm. is a structured position. Therefore, you have to be careful when you are tackling Dowry. It can bring you chaos. But this one of Senate, wanatoa, watakutoa, hakuna hata kwa constitution, there's nothing there. Look, the constitution of Kenya is here. Look at the sections. Look, Miriam, is here. There's nothing. That the leader of majority where in the Senate is not here. They talk about the leader of majority in the parliament.
Yes.
So let people learn to read. The one thing that people in Africa don't do, they read Matsanga's face, how bad he is. They call me names only. They don't read my material. I told you there was Machiavellian politics in Kenya. It was going to cause you Kenyans division. 7 months ago, on CAS TV, I said it. On this platform, I said it. Now you can reap where you sow. Lie on the bed, man. Lie on the bed, Kindiki. Lie on the bed, Susan Kiika. Over to you, Miriam.
And a quote there, before we move to the next country there, a quote here by James Orengo is quoted on page 3 of the Standard newspaper saying the Jubilee Party should sit together and decide whether you are going to obey the Caesar or Rasputin. You cannot have an army with 2 field marshals, because that is what it has been appearing to be happening in Jubilee. So Orengo, they're saying you cannot have an army with 2 marshals. There has to be one center of command. But as we have been seeing things playing out, and Senator Ongeri, Sam Ongeri of Kisii, he said, you all the time serve under the pleasure of the appointing authority. Any indication that there is no confidence in you calls upon a quick meditation on what you should do. So there you go. Some of the sentiments there are registered by some of our political leaders in this country over the ousting of key leaders there of Jubilee who had key positions in both Parliament and also in the Senate, Doctor. And we move now to, in the interest of time, to...
When you say Orengo, my friend, is a very good guy. He does very good literature, which I want. This country has 1 sword. It doesn't have 2 swords or half a sword.
Or 2 centers of power.
No, sword. The 1 sword is enough. Don't even, let's not waste a lot of our airtime explaining the sender said to what. It is 1 sword that was given by the Chief Justice, by Kibaki, Uhuru Kenyatta. When Uhuru Kenyatta was handling that 1 sword, he did not call Ruto to handle it. Wacha tugonge maneno itoke. Maybe some people have thought that Ruto is also a co-president. No.
Is a vice.
His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto is a deputy president by the Constitution of Republic of Kenya. A deputy D does not mean P. D means deputy. P means president. So those who thought that he was also having core power to run the institution without instructions from above, those will bring even more blood on the floor. You don't want the president to go that route. You don't want. This is now a different president. Murathe told you. Murathe told you that when he gets annoyed, calling him back, bringing him back. I told people and they called me names. I was writing every morning. 4 a.m. I'm writing. They don't read my things. They said that Ugandan hippo, hippo, big stomach. What? They call me all the names. Now there you are. I am here to watch. I am here to watch. The president is wild. Is now 1P, not D. We have 1P. There is no other letter PD. It is P, then D. The sword is 1. The leader of head of this party is Uhuru Kenyatta. If he's not capable, incapacitated, then the deputy can step in. But for now, all those who thought that they were equal can see Friday what went down a weekend. What a weekend. Miriam, thank you very much. Let's look elsewhere. Things fall apart. But behind this falling apart, let me make one small statement. Behind this falling apart, don't give up. There is dialogue. There's room for dialogue. I want to speak as an elder. Yes, of a mafia clan. Don't be Okonko. You, Mr. President, don't be Okonko. Let these younger men who go to meeting come and tell you to become Okonko. You don't have fear. Don't have fear. You have courage and go back and call your president to say, where did we go wrong? You have 2 years. Can we finish this? I'm giving advice, so that Kenyans don't say, I was the one fueling. I'm only saying, don't listen to Ndindi Nyoro. You are the one who made Ndindi Nyoro. He was my employee in this punchline on this line here. I was paying him 5,000 shillings per show. Now you have made him a man who can insult president. Korea is he hasn't even paid the money for bail. It is there. All these people, you've made them. But when they come to tell you a lie, please, Your Excellency, also value what they are telling you. Don't spoil your relationship with your boss. There is room. I'm now talking as an elder. I cannot be on this platform condemning. People ask me, does this man have any brain in the head? I don't want a country to divide itself. There's room for people to say, I'm sorry. The president gave you responsibility. You have relied on the information of these younger men. They will take us nowhere. Ichungwa is George Soros' man. He's a point man of George Soros in East Africa. For him, he can fly quickly and go away. That's why he was elected unopposed in Kikuyu, because George Soros gave him money to do the project. Please, that is all the truth I'm telling you. This country needs a united front. The legacy president needs it as we leave Kenya and step over across to the favorite subject of Miriam of South Sudan. Let Kenyans think of what they can do after and with during COVID-19.
All right.
Miriam, first, someone has asked me, am I one of them or I am in solidarity? I don't know whether you are a slow explainer, nicely explainer.
One of who? One of them? What does the person want to know?
Someone here is asking me,
yes, maybe
are you one of, because I've dressed up like this. He's asking me,
is that what they meant? Yes.
Yeah, because of this, yeah.
I don't know how to answer that, because I don't understand the basis.
I am just,
yes,
the person has asked me on Twitter,
okay,
are you in solidarity? Yes,
okay,
with my Muslim brothers today.
Absolutely.
That's what I wanted you to say. Maybe I'm saying it too fast.
Well, okay. Doctor.
Always
yes,
say nicely for
yes,
them. Me, they say I'm too fast with my English. So I wanted you to say it calmly. But I've delivered that.
Very well.
I am in solidarity with the day
our
of
Muslim brothers and sisters.
Eid al-Fitr.
Yes, the day that marks the holy month of Ramadan. Thank you. Thank you, our viewers, those who are watching us through Facebook, through Twitter, all our social media platforms. We really appreciate you and thank you so much, and keep engaging with us. We shall be reading your comments as we proceed with the show. So now we cross borders to South Sudan and the impact of COVID-19 on the peace process. The press secretary in the office of the president has attributed the reasons for heightened tribal clashes in parts of, South Sudan as the absence of state government. Dr. South Sudan, just after signing that peace deal, so we were a bit hopeful, cautiously hopeful for a better South Sudan, and we're really curious to see how that process will work moving forward. But COVID-19 really brought things to abrupt, pause there. And so, should we? How will that impact the peace process moving forward? And because since then we've seen a huge number of killings happening in different parts of that country, especially in the newer Greater People, region there and other regions in South Sudan. What is really happening there, and is President, Salva Kiir's government really in control? And some of these things, how will they impact the peace process even after COVID-19?
First of all, it has affected first human resourcing. Almost half of the cabinet has got this thing. The vice president, first vice president, the family, his entire office is down under lock on the key. Some rumors were flying that the president was not on so well.
Yes.
So it has affected the performance of the action that, or the timelines, the timetable, the deadlines. We had to integrate the army. The more the army stays not integrated in South Sudan, the more could slip out of the integration areas and become again a war could begin. If they go to villages, they need help, they need food, they need money, they need resettlement, they need to return to school, which is the process of DDR, which is called DDR in conflict resolution. Those who might not know DDR, the redeployment, the mobilization of the troops, and the resettlement, reintegration. Those are the words that South Sudan should be talking about. From the head that I sit here, that's what I see. But now COVID-19 has come in. South Sudan has to deal with COVID-19 like any other country now. The nearest hospital is in Nairobi, or Cairo, or Khartoum. They have a problem. So the world needs to wake up, stand up, see the coffee, smell it, and here we go. We help them. We need to encourage that the process should not collapse. We need to encourage and give them money. The world must spare some money for South Sudan. Today, I am on the side of the people. I've been on the side of the people, so that this agreement does not fall, does not collapse. We need the resources. We don't want the formation of new rebel forces. Those who are fighting now should be completely wiped out. If there is need to wipe them out, or issue warrant of arrest. The government of South Sudan has a right to issue a warrant of arrest for that general. What is his name? General Marong or something like that. If he's not coming on board, now the government is formed, he can be brought on board through international agencies.
You mean Malong and also Thomas Cirillo also is not really on board yet.
Malong,
and some is militia. Some of his militia have been blamed. Yes.
So those are not disturbing national security. They should be checked on national level.
All right.
Thank you very much.
And also some of this insecurity, I think, is attributed. Remember, after the 32 states were, after President Salva Kiir agreed to go back to the 10 states, all these 32 governors that were manning the 32 states were fired. So there's not been any new governors that have been appointed because they're still trying to work on the modalities. I don't know what is happening right now. And of course, the COVID-19 has really gone a long way into, stalling some of this, the process. And so it is said that the lack of, the government presidents in the states there, the governors, that has really attributed. Some individuals are taking advantage of this, and now it appears as though the impact of COVID-19 is really being felt there on the peace process. And so this is something that we shall be following moving forward. And in March, the presidency there in South Sudan condemned the intercommunal clashes, but failed to do anything to stop the ethnic conflict. So condemning is just one thing, but not taking action, I think there is different. And that speaks to the second very important, issue that was very important, that was never really addressed there, is the security situation in South Sudan that would have brought about all fractions together so that South Sudan can have one point of authority when it comes to the military and other security agencies, and that could ensure a secure South Sudan. But I think they're still working on it. Doctor, we move to Zimbabwe, remove all sanctions, and as we speak right now,
just before you move to Zimbabwe,
yes,
I requested Stephen to bring a clip on British donation. Some people a few weeks ago were complaining why President Uhuru Kenyatta gave the British flowers. I want now to tell you officially that yesterday the British government sent food to Kenya, real food. So I wanted the pictures to be seen on the scene. British soldiers in Kenya offloading goods, packing them in the stores, ready to the government for distribution.
What kind of food is that? What kind of food? The package to the canned? What kind of food was it?
No, it's food.
Okay.
The food could be powdered milk.
Yeah.
That which is there. I've sent it to Stephen. I hope the production team will bring the trucks and everybody, they are there.
Yes.
The food has arrived.
Yes.
Powdered. Powdered milk is very important at this crucial time.
It is.
The people need all the type of food that can sustain them while they are under curfew and under restrictions.
Yeah.
The British government has sent in some goods. They have sent in some material, some food stuffs to help. There you are.
All right. I don't know.
That is food from the British government.
Yes, there it is.
Being offloaded in Kenya. So those who blamed President Uhuru Kenyatta for having sent flowers there, unaona what flowers can miracles do. What miracles can flowers do?
But
there
doctor,
you are.
But doctor, as a Kenyan, I live to see a day where Kenya will not need any food donations. That is my prayer. When I see things, it's good, but I'm not very proud because I know we can feed ourselves. And a friend indeed, a friend in need is a friend indeed. We appreciate the help right now. We need it. But this food security, which is one of the plans by President Uhuru Kenyatta in the Big Four agenda, President Uhuru Kenyatta, please, this has to happen. This has to happen. How can it happen when people are talking about this? President Uhuru Kenyatta, this has to happen. Kenya has to be food secure. Please, sir, work on that. We need the dams, we need our farmers empowered, and I see that economic stimulus package and some money that will go to our farmers. That really got me very excited. So we just need to do the right things because Kenya is capable of feeding itself. So the help is wonderful, but as Kenyan, I'm not very proud because I know we can feed ourselves, but we accept that help. We know very well General Thomas Siliro is a threat to South Sudan security now. So what the government advised, arrest him. They should have warrants of arrest. After COVID-19 is over, we put international warrant. We get him. Let's go to Zimbabwe, which I will start with an opening and talk about it. Then a short clip on sanctions. 2 days ago or 3 days ago, the government of Republic of the United States of America removed the 2 banks, sanctions from 2 banks. They allowed them to do the trading internationally on the international market in order to help to service some of the trading that takes place that needs dollars and some other openings.
for more than 21 years or 17 years or so. Most of us have stood firm and asked the American government to remove sanctions against Zimbabwe. I have been one of the few advocates in Europe, in Africa, in Southern Africa, in Zimbabwe itself, in Kenya. I've walked the torrid road towards the removal of these sanctions. I've asked, I've talked publicly, I've done clips, I've done videos asking the President of the United States to drop sanctions. Miriam, we are very successful. The European Union understood our position, and they removed some of the sanctions that have hit Zimbabwe. The Americans are beginning to listen to us. We also again thank the internet, social media, the type of interaction. You see, when you write messages to Trump, they are not like in Nairobi here, they eat them or they throw them. You don't write to insult him. You write to give opinion by telling Trump on his Twitter handle that, Your Excellency, why are you squeezing Zimbabwe? Why don't you give Zimbabwe a chance? I think I did a clip, which Stephen, I don't know whether he has now. If he doesn't have it, it should come now, and you see the work that I have been saying, which I sent on President Clinton's Twitter handle several times. Every morning I wake up, I send the same clip so that I remind him that the people of Zimbabwe need that the sanctions removed. Let's play the clip if it is ready. Miriam, you are at the headquarters.
It is ready.
It is ready.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
We have just sanctioned the Iranian National Bank. Today we are announcing additional sanctions.
In a few moments, I'll be signing an executive order imposing hard-hitting sanctions on...
I want to make it categorically clear that sanctions anywhere in the third world, wherever they are applied, whether Venezuela, whether Russia, whether Iran, whether which country in the third world that you apply sanctions, whether Libya, whether Sudan, whether South Sudan, these sanctions hurt the common person. The citizen of that country is always hurt by sanctions. Sanctions are as bad as terrorism. Sanctions are as bad as homegrown terror groups. Sanctions kill economically. Sanctions put the people at a risk to other international agencies and risks to other international diseases. Sanctions cripple the people of any nation that you put them on. As you know, since the Cold War, the use of sanctions as a soft approach of international policy and diplomacy of the United States has continued to bring a lot of havoc to many African countries. They isolate you, they target you, they demonize you, then later on send the opposition. Is there something that Africa can do to bring about the social transformation that can stop this type of malaise that Americans have put on us?
Very much. That is an old clip there by Dr. David Matsanga, who has been very consistent in calling upon the international community to lift these sanctions on Zimbabwe. So as we said there earlier, as Dr. Matsanga stated there earlier, Zimbabwe welcomed the U.S. decision Thursday to remove 2 of its banks from the sanctions list, saying the move will allow them to easily obtain credit to address the country's moribund economy. However, the ruling ZANU-PF party is calling for more from the US and other Western countries and that imposed the sanctions in 2002. And of course, Tafadzwa Mukwabi, the Director of Information in the ruling ZANU-PF's party, said the party is not satisfied, though President Emerson Mnangagwa's efforts to re-engage the West are bearing fruit. So, Doctor, I see that, the clip that you've been very consistent in terms of calling on some of these sanctions on Zimbabwe, all the sanctions on Zimbabwe to be lifted. But also, I think a couple of weeks ago we were discussing this private letter that has been written, by Zimbabwe's, finance, Minister Mthule Nkube to the world, to the IMF, to the World Bank, to all these bodies that was leaked, and it was literally begging for these people to, lift the sanctions on Zimbabwe, and was begging for help because Zimbabwe is in a very dire situation. This letter, has it played any role in, seeing the US make this move and moving forward? This ZANU-PF, party official here is saying that President Emerson Mnangagwa is not doing enough in terms of trying to engage the West and to have them lift these sanctions. What do you say to that?
First of all, I welcome the decision by the United States of America to lift sanctions against Zimbabwe totally. And I want to pray and ask President Trump that there is no need of these sanctions. The situation elsewhere in Africa is the same. If you are looking for a free and a fair election in Africa, you can ask Burundi. It is a very interesting election. You can ask any country that is, ask Malawi. There is no free and a fair election in Africa. Most of the African elections are marred with chest bumping and pushing and beating each other. So if you say you are punishing Zimbabwe because of human rights, which human rights are not being abused in some other countries in Africa, why have you not punished them the same way? If you are punishing Zimbabwe the way you want to punish all of the African countries, then there would be very few countries in Africa that can qualify on the question of human rights. Mm-hmm. I tell you why. Can you say Paul Biya can qualify for human rights? Can you say Buhari can qualify for human rights? Mm-hmm. Can you say Faramijo can qualify for human rights? Can you say, for sure there are so many countries in Africa that don't qualify for human rights barometer. Therefore, pinning out Zimbabwe, punishing Zimbabwean people, does not help you, does not help America. In fact, America is losing Zimbabwe to the Chinese. The earlier they remove these sanctions, the better. And I am one of the people who is going to tell my Zimbabwean people, and I will do a takeaway on this. The takeaway on Zimbabwe, not now, but later, you give me 2 minutes on takeaway. Let's finish the rest. The question Zimbabwe must learn today is simple. Don't cry to these guys. Beat the sanctions. Beat them. Time has come for Zimbabwe to beat sanctions. Ian Smith beat sanctions. Why are you crying, writing a letter? Oh, I am bad love. That's the letter Miriam is talking about. Mm-hmm. What for? Why do you write to people who don't want to listen to you? Why do you write to people who want you dead?
They seem to have listened.
What? No, this is not this. This has come as if you wake up every morning sending such an African is on your Twitter handle every morning. Send a clip. Send a clip. The man gets tired. He gets tired, not because of that plea. That plea brings more chaos for Zimbabwe. If you take that plea, then it means Zimbabwe cannot get any credit. It means you are gone. You are not gone because you don't like it. It is like praising Kindiki that is a very good professor. But now I can't save you. You saw how on Friday people were doing it. So Zimbabwe has got its diamonds. It can beat the sanctions by selling diamonds to Kenya. Then Kenya can sell the diamonds, pay Zimbabwe money. We are not going to sit there and wait for Americans to police us on our own minerals. Let the people of Zimbabwe listen to them. We are not. It is not very good for the Americans to go and police a country which has got its diamonds, which if it sold 2 planefuls of diamond, it can solve all the problems of medicine in Zimbabwe hospitals. Am I wrong? Tell me that I have no point there. I have a point.
All right. So this information, Director of the ruling ZANU-PF said that our position as ZANU-PF is that an illegal sanction imposed on Zimbabwe from the United States of America have no place in this civilized world, so that the people of Zimbabwe can fully realize their full potential without any hindrances, so that the government can be measured on the basis of its capacity without these hindrances, without sanctions in place. So he's saying, fine, that is okay, but that is not enough. These sanctions that have been imposed on Zimbabwe do not have a place in the 21st century in a civilized world. So they're saying they're not merited, basically.
No, they are not. Miriam, they are not. There is no need of begging and beating about the bush. You show me one country on the African continent that can match the human rights record. Where? Where? Which country? Perhaps Kenya. Kenya is a bit there. Because people insult the president and then they leave in their house. They write. I was shocked. They write about the president on Twitter and they live in their houses. You go to Uganda and write about the president every day. Or you insult him every day like a bee. Will you live in the house?
Or in Rwanda. You try that in Rwanda or Uganda.
Or try Ethiopia.
Or even in Tanzania. Yeah. Magufuli there is very intolerant.
The perimeters upon which United States leveled sanctions against Zimbabwe are obsolete. Obsolete. Is that good English?
Obsolete. Yes, obsolete and very impunitive compared to... Yes.
Quisha, they are finished. Remove them. There's no legitimacy in heaping sanctions on Zimbabwe anymore. Next.
All right, we go to Uganda and the COVID-19 strategy there. Is it working? And President Yoweri Museveni on May 4th delivered a national televised address announcing that the country's 5-week lockdown to contain COVID-19 in one of the Africa's most robust will be gradually relaxed. When the lockdown started on March 31st, Uganda had just 44 confirmed COVID-19 cases. Then it ended on May 5th. The total was just 97 cases with no deaths. Even there's not been any deaths so far reported there in Uganda. So would you say some of these measures that President Yoweri Museveni put in place, a lot of it people did not understand, but now we see the strategy that he employed and closing the border, especially with Kenya, quite early when the numbers of Kenya are starting to rise there. He made sure it started to control the movement of persons in that border and indeed other places. Can we say this strategy has worked well for Uganda in terms of the fight against COVID-19?
It has. I am usually one of the few critics against President Museveni since 1981. But there are things that I agree with him, and there are things I don't agree with. One of them that I agree with, several of them. One, Somalia. He sent troops in Somalia. President, tick. I think, Miriam, you can tick. One, tick. Education, primary education, free education, Uganda, tick. Building more dams on River Nile and other places, for power generation tick. I give credit where it is due. Security in Uganda, and I let him, I dragged him to here. I have no regrets. If he doesn't like to see my face, I don't care. Tick. Security in Uganda is 100% tick. You have done very well on that. Uganda, if a driver of COVID can move out of his truck, there is a security man. Have you seen the clip that is running around the social media? The driver wanted to go and buy things in the market. He didn't know that the plainclothes men were soldiers who told him, go back to your trailer. Go back to your trailer and stop where you have been told to go. That is the security. On security, His Excellency, tick. Let's come on corruption, zero. Huko Uganda, corruption is centralized. Miriam, I hope you are ticking. That one, ameanguka. He has to do more because even the food that he gave out, people are stealing it. There are people in court today, but corruption is everywhere in Africa, not only in Uganda. The only thing in countries in Africa, corruption differs from format of color. The one in Africa, in Uganda, could be Mercedes-Benz. The one in Kenya could be Range Rover. But at least in Kenya, in every homestead, hamlet, valley, mountain, there is a house with tiles, either green or red or brown tiles.
Or gray. So, Doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, for
they are spread.
Yes.
Thank you. So,
yeah, but
yes. His Excellency has done so well, Miriam, on several things. The last thing he has done and impressed me, David, is this COVID-19. Give him a credit. And then the people who have impressed me are Ugandans. They are law-abiding. They don't question much. And the Ugandan, when you tell him there is trouble, there is a snake ahead, he will make sure he runs fast. Then he looks through the window where the snake is passing. Whereas in Kenya, when you tell someone there is a snake at the global roundabout,
we go looking for the snake.
He will head there to see it.
If it's true or not. That is actually... That's actually very, yeah, we have a very peculiar nature in us.
Yes. And then you Kenyans, if police is shooting, there is a shootout at Global, you want to go and witness. You want to go and witness. Yet the bullets, a stray bullet could come from there and hit you. You have seen accidents on the Kenyan roads. Miriam, people, most of the accidents occur as a secondary ripple effect. Those people come and park and they get out. They are not helping anything. They are not ambulance. They are not fire brigade.
They're just curious.
Another car comes and rams all of them.
Yes.
Our place, we run very fast. Right. Then you ask from 10 miles away, what happened there? You know,
so Ugandans are cowards. That's what you're saying.
We are not.
You just take precaution. All right. Ugandans take precautions very well. Doctor, for the interest of time, because we have about 15 minutes. Yes, I was just joking there.
On a serious note.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. On the fight on COVID-19, I wanted, you know what Uganda has done? Look at what the last sentence in Uganda on your paper. Uganda has also used the anti-malaria drug
hydrochloroquine. And this is the drug Donald Trump has been taking for the past couple of weeks to treat patients. Yes.
They have used it.
Yes.
There's no.
Even here, I think we're using it. Yeah.
Not even a single community reproduction unit. One person from the community among Ugandans affected. Mr. President, there you are, you have a honor.
All right.
The other thing that he doesn't want is don't speak about his chair.
What's wrong with his chair?
When the president is still on the seat, don't speak about the mistake we are making in Kenya.
Don't salivate about the seat that is. Okay.
Go until election are declared, then you can speak about it.
And then he'll still go back to that seat.
Oh, you'll be happy. He'll even give you some cassava.
All right. Okay.
You know, eat cassava only. Cassava in the morning. Now I also eat the same, you know.
Okay.
Don't you see the way I am now?
Doctor.
Change.
We have very few minutes, and we have to look at 2 more countries because for the interest of time and also the curfew.
Okay.
Yes, but yeah, President, I think Museveni is.
I have done my best.
Yes.
If you can finish those 2,
yeah,
I can go away.
Oh, no, we can just finish together. Why would you leave before we finish? Yes. President Museveni has done well. The strategy has worked there for Uganda, and that is kudos to President Museveni. So we move to South Africa, COVID strategy marquee, and very interesting developments there, Doctor. President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to address the nation on Sunday, today evening, on developments in South Africa's risk-adjusted COVID-19 strategy, including easing down to a level 3 lockdown expected at the end of May. Now, in a statement on Saturday, the presidency said the address follows meetings with Cabinet, the National Coronavirus Command Council, and the President Coordinating Council. But very interesting here. Political parties represented in Parliament, traditional leaders, the South African, he'll meet with these people, but both the Freedom Front Plus and the DA, that is the Democratic Alliance, are heading to court to challenge the lockdown in its current format and some of its regulations. Now, the DA has already filed papers that challenge the validity of some aspects of the national lockdown, including the military-enforced night curfew, the ban on e-commerce, and the restriction on exercise hours. News 24 previously has reported, and the party will also be challenging the constitutionality of having no parliamentary oversight inscribed in the Disaster Management Act. And also on Thursday, the Helen Suzman Foundation launched a constitutional court challenge in a bid to force Parliament to reclaim its constitutionally assigned role to pass legislation which regulates the state's response to COVID-19 following Ramaphosa's declaration on the state of disaster. Now, civil society also approached the courts on the legality of the lockdown. You would think Kenya here is where everybody runs to the court, but you see South Africa here, things are thick there for President Cyril Ramaphosa. And just very interesting there, because South Africa is the country that is leading in the continent as we speak right now and has 21,343 cases. The death toll there is over 400, and the recoveries there is just over, slightly over 10,000, Doctor. And we see, the opposition party there going to court to challenge the lockdown measures, and these other foundations. I don't know what are we missing here?
I got it. I've just got a tweet from South Africa from a friend who is in South African Army, a lady, friend of mine, said, so South Africa government wanted to open liquor stores before opening the church. We are doomed. Because one of the measures that President Ramaphosa is bringing is to open up the liquor. People are complaining.
Yeah, because of the leading brewery companies, they are pouring out their beer because they're expiring. Nobody is buying because there was a ban on alcohol there. So that's why, yeah.
Then another gentleman on the same platform answered this lady. Now, the only opening business that pay tax, they only open business that pay tax You can pray in the comfort of your home. The way you guys open your mouth at church when judging others, you will also catch corona very fast if they open the churches.
That is true.
So the man is challenging that. They are opening businesses that pay taxes. The churches don't pay taxes.
Yes.
But they can pray at home. Yeah, because companies are crying, as you said. They are not selling anything at all. Now, some news that have just come in Kenya, very interesting news. I don't even know where this area is, but the area is called Northeastern, we quote our sister, our partners in business of media. It has come that Northeastern Security Team sends a chopper to pick medics from Bura Hospital over Al-Shabaab attack fears. The regional commissioner Dalani has just said. There is a picture here which has just come in, breaking news, that Al-Shabaab is planning to attack Bura in Northeastern. Yes. And you know, we have medical doctors from Juba and so on. Thank you very much. A tip-off from senior intelligence officers that there would be attack.
Yes.
Therefore, they have sent a helicopter to remove
to evacuate the doctors.
Medical teams.
And
yes.
Doctor, that is very good, because after Kenya suffered a few casualties earlier, a couple of years ago, we've seen the government really beefing up its intelligence system, and it's really paying off, because we've seen a lot of attacks having been thwarted by our intelligence, institutions in this country. So kudos to the government. I think the intelligence in this country has really grown and adapted, and we are able to see Kenyans. We are sleeping at the comfort of our homes at night, and they're working, ensuring that we are safe. So I'm happy that that has happened there. So that is a kudos to our intelligence in this country. It's really doing well, and has really improved over the years.
Okay. And the last one is Cameroon.
Yes.
There's a ray of hope. As you remember, I have struggled on the question of Cameroon and Amazonia for the last 5 years. I was by the people of Cameroon and Amazonia from 2016, when I brought this topic to the Kenyan media. And here, most of the Kenyan media didn't know that we even had a bishop, a Kenyan, in Cameroon, a Catholic bishop who was murdered. I've stood by the people of Amazonia. I have no regrets for having stood by the people of Amazonia. But I have the well-organized intentions of getting Mr. Paul Biya arrested at one time, when time arises, if he steps foot in the United Kingdom, in the courts where we have filed papers waiting for his arrest. We want to thank the people of Amazonia for what they have done in the struggle. The world is listening to us. Very soon, there will be a debate by the Americans, sponsored by America and other countries, about Amazonia. And thereafter, the OCHA has called on America to take active part in mediation, in efforts. Probably that could end in a two-state solution. There is no probably. It must end. For the conflict in Cameroon to end, give them their state of Amazonia. Full stop. I don't have anything to add. I don't have anything to subtract. And we have done our best medium from 2 p.m. We are sorry for the hiccups that took place. We have struggled all the way down to where we are now. I want to do a takeaway.
All right.
We welcome the decision by the government to remove sanctions on 2 banks in Zimbabwe. But that is not enough. The entire package of sanctions against Zimbabwe must be removed. The sanctions in Zimbabwe are not playing any useful role. From the American point of view, you are punishing the people of Zimbabwe. You are killing the masses. You have become axis of mass murdering of the people of Zimbabwe. The people of Zimbabwe are being murdered. They are dying because of diseases that they can't treat. Not because they don't have their gold, not because they don't have their diamonds, not because they don't have their minerals, not because they cannot be able to trade, but because you have prohibited them from trading, from utilizing the natural resources given to them by God. I want to call on this day of Eid al-Fitr to call upon, I'm not a Muslim, I'm a Christian, but I pray in the same God that Trump prays. We pray the same God, we respect the same Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad, and the others. But we want to stand at this hour in the area of COVID-19 to give a hope, a glimmer of hope for the people of Zimbabwe by lifting sanctions. These sanctions are illegal. European Union has removed the sanctions. Why America is stuck on human rights issue? There's no African country, show me one that can qualify, that says it has pure record of good human rights record. Where is it? Human rights in America are also being trampled on. But no country has refused or has come to stop America from trading with us. It is the question of human rights record that made the International Criminal Court to try to indict America. And the American government said, no way, you can't try any of our person. Are the people of America more superior than the people of Zimbabwe who die on these sanctions on a daily basis? We call upon President Trump to completely remove the sanctions against Zimbabwe, allow the country to rebuild its capacity to feed its people, allow the country to access its international trade, allow the country to deliver its people the medicine that is needed in COVID-19 and other emergencies that have befallen Zimbabwe. I rest my case, and I will continue to be doing so on a daily basis. That you listen, I send you this clip, President Trump, to listen to us. I'm not a Zimbabwean, I'm a Ugandan, but I've fought against these sanctions for more than 20 years. Remove the sanctions. Thank you. God bless you.
Right, Doctor, thank you very much. Very well said there. And our viewers, thank you so much for your company today. Thank you so much for participating, and thank you so much for watching us. We meet here tomorrow in 9 a.m. for Daytime Express. My name is Miriam Ogotu, and back to Doctor.
My name is Part 2, Dr. Matanga. Back to Miriam.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.